Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about function and straight line equation. It's for the review for the quiz. Okay, so in question number 1, you see a Cartesian plane, and the question is from this figure, state each of the coordinates. Remember that when you want to write down the coordinates, you need to use brackets and also state the name of the point. So for example, this is point A, right? So point A, just write down A over here, and then put brackets. And then remember that the x should go first and then the y value. So in here we have 1, and then use comma 3. Yes, use comma. Do not use point because point is used for a decimal number. Okay, so the next one is B. This guy over here, that'll be 2 and 2, right? So it'll be 2 comma 2, and so on, so on. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to answer all of them. You already know, so I'm gonna go skip in question D. So point D here. So point D is 5 comma 0. So the 5 here is the x value, and when a point is on the x-axis, meaning that the y value will be equals to 0. Okay, so I'm gonna go to point E here, this E. So it'll be 0 comma 4. Right, this 4 value here is the y-axis because we know that the vertical line is the y-axis and the x-axis is the horizontal line over here, right? And then next one is I'm gonna go to I. So I is negative 4 comma 0. This negative 4 is the value of x, and again, if the point is on the x-axis, means that the y is equals to 0. Okay, last one, I'm gonna write down h here. There will be 0 comma negative 2. Okay, let's go to question number 2. Given a function f of x equals to 2x minus 1, determine the value of f2, the value of negative 1, and a new expression for 3f of 2x. Okay, now let's do it one by one. Let's go and answer question A. In here we have the function, which is this one. So always write down the function first. So f of x equals to 2x minus 1. This is the function over here, right? So the first question is this guy over here, the value of f of 2. So write down f of 2. I'm going to use different color here. Okay, so see what happened here. When you want to do this kind of question, I'm gonna maybe write that in. Yeah, okay, so whenever you want to do this kind of question, right, so I'm just basically just writing down this one, but I'm using different colors so that you can see what happened here. So if we say f of 2, meaning that you only need to substitute this x value by 2. You know that this is x, right? F of x, and this is x over here. So if this is f of 2, so there will be 2, and then substitute the x by 2, and then minus 1. Can you see what happened? It's just like I'm just substituting the x by 2. That's it. Okay, so and then you can just calculate this. This is just 4 minus 1, and it'll be just equals to 3, right? Okay, so question B. It's the same thing, right? So we have f of x is equals to 2x minus 1. Still we're still using the same function because we're still on question number 2, and then it said that the value of f of negative 1. So f of negative 1. So remember that you only need to substitute this x by negative 1. That's it. Okay, so that'll be 2 in bracket negative 1 and then minus 1. Okay, so 2 times minus 1 is negative 2, and then minus 1, and it'll be just equals to negative 3. Okay, okay, question C. It said that the new expression for 3f of 2x. So in here, we have this guy over here and this guy over here. So we can actually separate that two things, right? So the 3 and then f of 2x. So if I write down again the question, 3 of, write down f, and I'm gonna use different color here, and then we have 2x like this, right? So notice that that 3 is just like coefficient, right? So the 3 is being multiplied by f of 2x, right? So the 3 stays there. I'm gonna write down over here, right? So what does f of 2x means? It means that you only need to change this x by 2x. Okay, so can you see it again? If I write down f of x, that'll be equals to 2x minus 1, right? From here, if I have f of 2x, there'll be 2 in bracket 2x minus 1. Can you see what happened? I'm just changing this x becomes 2x. Right, so this is what really happened. So we're going to do this one here. We're using the same concept. It means that it will be 3 and then 2 and then in bracket 2x and then minus 1. Okay, so don't forget that you need to put bracket. Yeah, I forgot to put the bracket there. So the bracket should be over here, right? Because this is like 3 times this, right? The same thing, right? Okay, now for this one, you can just expand the bracket. I suggest that if you want to expand the bracket, if you must do expand the bracket, if you can simplify the one inside the bracket, then do it. Okay, so I'm gonna simplify this first, right? There'll be the 3 stays there, and then the 2 times 2x becomes 4x, right? So there'll be 4x over here, and minus 1, and then we can multiply this, expand the bracket, right, multiplying by these two, and then we will get 3 times 4x is 12x, and 3 times minus 1 is minus 3. That's it. Question number 3. Given a function f of x is equal to 3x plus 2, determine the value of a if fa equals to 17. So what we're looking for here is the value of a. So notice that, remember when we do the previous question, for example, if I have f of x equals to 2x plus 1, and if I say f of 3, for example, you only need to substitute dx by 3. Can you see what happened? I'm just changing this into 3. That's it, right? So the same concept in here, actually. So if we have f of x, right, rewrite the function again, right? So if I have f of x equals to 3x plus 2, so if I have f of a, so I only need to substitute dx by a, so there'll be equals to 3a plus 2, right? And then in here we have f of a is equals to 17, so you can write down 17 over here. Can you see what happened here? We just like creating an equation over here, so you only need to solve it, right? Okay, so the first thing I do is to get rid of this 2 by subtracting both sides by -2, so there'll be 3a equals to 17 minus 2. So what happened here, guys, do not put this again like here. Do not do that, because if you do that, this guy should also be -2, right? So can you see what happened here? So don't write this down again below this. Yeah, so enough until this line over here. Yeah, okay, so just solve this equation over here. Okay, so yeah, okay, let's do it again. 3a equals to 17 minus 2, and which means that the 3a will be equals to 15, and divide both sides by 3, right? And then the a is equals to 5. There you go, right? Pretty easy. Okay, now for question B, so number 3. So the value of b if fb equals to 12 over 5. Okay, so here we go, right? So the same concept applies. So I suggest that every time you answer this kind of question, rewrite the function if you have one, just like this one here. Okay, fx equals to 3x plus 2. So I'm going to rewrite that again. F of x equals to 3x plus 2 is from the question here. And then it said that the value of is if fb, right? So if I have f of b, so I only need to substitute dx by b. That's it. Okay, and that'll be 3b plus 2. And in here we have equal to 12 over 5. So that'll be equals to 12 over 5. Okay, then again, we are going to do the same exact process like before. We only need to solve this equation over here, right? So my preference, guys, I choose to multiply everything by 5 first, because I want to get rid of this 5 over here. So you can do it differently, but it's okay. Yeah, I'm gonna multiply for 5 for each of the term in here. 3b multiplied by 5, there'll be 15b, and then 2 multiplied by 5, and there'll be 10. And then the last one is 12 over 5 times 5 is just 12, because we know that if we multiply 12 over 5 times 5, we can cancel the 5, right? So it's only 12 over here. Okay, so anyway, so equals to 12. Okay, so here we go. So let's get rid of this 10 over here. So let me rewrite that again. It's kind of not settled. Okay, here we go. So subtract both sides by 10. It'll be 12 minus 10. And it'll be 15b equals to 2, and then divide both sides by 15, and you will get this answer. And this is the simplest form of fraction, so this is going to be the final answer. Okay, let's go to question number 4. Given a function f of x equals to 24 minus 3x squared for the domain of -3, 1, and 4, what is the range? So remember that when we're talking about domain means that it is the input or the x values, okay? So in here we have these three, right? So all of these are the x value. So the range is actually is the result. The result is the y value, right? So what happened here is just like we want to know what happened if we input these three into the x. So you will get also three values of the range, right? So remember that every input can only have one output, right? So let's do it one by one. So I'm gonna write down the function again. Here we have f of x equals to 24 minus 3x squared. So for the first one is we have this negative 3. So that'll be the first one. There'll be f of negative 3, right? So remember that whatever happened in here inside this bracket here. So you only need to substitute this guy with this negative 3, okay? So that'll be 24 minus 3 in bracket negative 3 squared. So be careful if you are calculating manually. You need to do this first, right? Remember the bitmass, so you need to do the index first. Remember that negative 3 and then square is equals to 9, and negative 3 square is equals to negative 9. So be careful that you really need to put this bracket over here if you don't want to make any mistake, okay? Okay, so in here, if you do it manually, there'll be 24, and that's minus 3, and then this is 9, and there'll be 24 minus 27, and there'll be equals to negative 3. Okay, so we're not done yet because we still have this 1 and 4, right? So we only need to put that into the x value. So again, for the second one, we're going to input the 1, so the f of 1 here, this one here. So again, we are using the same exact function, just substitute this by 1. That's it. Okay, that'll be equals to 24 minus 3 times 1 squared. So you can actually like put this into the calculator, guys, and you will get the final result like this. Okay, so the last one is f of 4. I'm gonna go straight. I should use a different color here. Let's go. We can see what happened here. So f of 4, just substitute that 24 minus 3 times 4 squared, and that'll be equals to 24 minus 48, right? Yeah, 48. That'll be equals to negative 24. Now in here we have all the result, but I remember that you need to write down the domain here. So right, sorry, the range, right? So the range, you need to write down the conclusion for this question in here, that the range is write down will be negative 3, 21, and negative 24. So I can write it down as from the smallest, which is negative 24, comma negative 3 and 21. So it doesn't really matter because we're not matching the domain with the range. So just write down what are the range. So this is going to be the final answer. Okay, number 4, section B, for the range of negative 51 and 21, what is the domain here? So this is just the upside operation of what we did, or actually this is the same, has the same process as number 3. Yeah, so if you can do number 3, so this question is also going to be very easy. So you only need to see if we have, okay, I'm going to write down the formula first, sorry, the function, which is f of x equals to 24 minus 3x squared. So from here, okay, so that because this is still the same question. Okay, now in here what we mean by range is the result, right? So the result is the y value or the fx, right? So the question is what is the x? So in here we can actually just write down like this. So if I input something into the x, there'll be negative 51, right, from this function. So what is the value of x? So that is the simplest way on how to explain this. So if I have 24 negative 3x squared, so I put a number into the x, and that'll be equals to negative 51 from this here over here, right? And then we do, after we solve this equation, and then we do the same thing again with 21. Okay, so that's the goal. Okay, now let's do it. So I'm gonna get rid of the negative 24 by subtracting both sides by 24, and I will get 3x squared equals to negative 75, and I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. That'll be negative 75 over negative 3, and that'll be equals to 25 positive. Now we know that we have this square, right? So how to get rid of that? We only need to do what we call a square root. So square root both sides. But remember, guys, if you have a square like this, right, this is a square, so if the power is an even number, so you might get like two values, right? for example, in here we have, I'm going to write down like this, x equals to this plus minus square root of 25. Square root of 25 is equals to 5. So now why there are two values in here? Because if I input 5 here, right, so 5 square is equals to 25, right? And so if I also have this, that will be also equals to 25. That's why we have two values, 5 and -5, right? Because it is a square. So be careful if the power is not a not an even number. If it's like an odd number, so this does not apply. Okay. So yeah, here we go. So we have this one over here. The other one is for the 21, so I'm gonna put it up here. Right, I'm gonna put the line here so that we can see what separator between the two. Okay, so I write down again f of x equals to 24 minus 3x squared. So again, if I input something into the x, right, the result will be equals to 21. So I can write down 24 minus 3x squared equals to 21. And I will do the same exact process like this one, right? So get rid of the 24. I have minus 3x squared equals to 21 minus 24. Right? Is it? Yeah. There'll be -3. So it's negative 3x squared equals to -3. And divide both sides by -3. And that'll be equals to 1. And then again, because this is x squared, in which we have a power of an even number, so that'll be x equals to plus minus the square root of 1. The square root of 1 is just 1, so it'll be equals to plus minus 1. So which means that in conclusion, right, so the domain are 1, sorry, so -5, -1, 1, and 5, right? So we have the 4 values here, the plus, the -1, sorry, minus 5, plus 5, 1, and -1. Okay, so we have 4 values of domain. Okay, for number 5, I'm only going to give you 2 questions here. Actually, there are 4, but I don't need to discuss it because this is pretty easy. So the question is, state the gradient of line AB from each figure below. So let's start from this one here. Remember that the concept of gradient is equals to rise over run. So you're going to start from one point and then see how many unit does it rise, and how many unit it does run to the other point. So in here we have point A and point B, right? It's on the line. So from here, I'm gonna talk from the left to the right. So the first thing we need to identify is that if this is positive or negative. This is going to be positive because from the left to the right it is going uphill. So the second one here, this one is negative because going from the left to the right it's going downhill. Then it will be a negative gradient. Okay, so you don't need a formula for this one. Just write down. Okay, you can actually like just draw a rise and run like this, right? So the rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, so that'll be 4 units, and the run is 1, 2, and that'll be 2 units over here. So which means that the gradient of this line is equals to 4 over 2. The rise is 4 and the run is 2. Don't mix up. Be careful, and remember that also that you need to simplify the final answer. The 4 over 2 is just equals to 2. That's it. Okay, second one here is this guy over here, right? The same thing. You go from A to B, so you go rise, but this time you go down, meaning that you are going to be we're gonna have a negative value of gradient, right? So you only need to count how many units there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, here we go. So which means that the gradient of this line is equals to minus, because this is going downhill, and the rise is 4 and the run is 6. Then again, remember that you need to simplify the fraction. There will be minus 2 over 3. And so you can answer the next question. Actually, it's the same thing like this, right? Okay, question number 6. Determine the gradient and the coordinate of the y-intercept from each of these line equation. Okay, so the easiest way to find the gradient and the coordinate of the y-intercept is just to change the equation into a slope y-intercept form, in which is y equals to mx plus c. So can you see what happened here? We have a a variable y, and it doesn't have any number in front, right? For example, like 2, and then actually it has, which is 1, but you don't really need to write it down, right? And then we have this m over here, right, equals to m. This is the gradient, and the c here is the y-intercept. So can you see that the first question here, the form is exactly like this? So you don't need to calculate anything, you only need to take the number, which means that this 3 is going to be the gradient and this -5 is going to be the y-intercept. But be careful that the question is for you to write down the coordinate of the y-intercept. So which means that for question A, the gradient is equals to 3 from here, because we know that you don't have any number in front of the y, right? So you just take this guy and this guy, that's it. And then the y-intercept coordinate, they'll be 0, -5. That's it. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, now let's go to question B. Here we have this form over here, but this is not the same form as this one, right? So what really happened is that we only need to make the y alone in one side, in which with this one over here, but we have a 2 over here, so which means that we can divide both sides of the equal sign by 2, right? So I'm gonna write down 2y equals to -5x plus 6, and I'm gonna divide both sides by 2. So if I divide this by 2, I will get just y. If I divide this by 2, you get the -5 over 2x, and if you divide this by 2, you will get 3. Now, can you see what happened here? It's just that we know that this form, right, is the same form as this guy, right? So the y is alone on the left side, right? And then I have a coefficient in front of the m, right, which is this one. And then I also have this guy over here, which is a c value, and that is the y-intercept. So which means that we can conclude from question B. So the gradient is equals to -5 over 2, this guy over here. And for the y-intercept, the coordinate of the y-intercept will be 0, 3. Okay, next up, question C. I'm gonna erase this one, guys. Okay. Question C and D is actually the same thing again, guys. So the goals is to make the y alone in one side of the equal sign, and the other is on the other side of the equal sign. So the coefficient of x is going to be the gradient, and the constant will be the y-intercept. That's it. Okay, so let's draw a separator over here. Okay, and then we're gonna answer question C. Okay, so this one over here, right? So I'm gonna rewrite that: 7x plus 4y equals to -2. Okay, so again, this y here wants to be alone, right? So we need to get rid of this guy and this guy. So let's subtract both sides with 7x first. So I'll get just 4y equals to -2 7x. Okay, the next thing we do is that we know that the y should be alone on one side. This guy is not alone yet. It does have 4. So how could we get rid of that? We can divide everything by 4, right? So just divide this, this, and this by 4. And you will get the y is just y. 4y divided by 4 is just y. And then -2 divided by 4 is going to be -1 over 2. And then this guy is just -7 over 4. X, don't forget the x value, right? Okay, now in here the question is what is the gradient and what is the y-intercept. So in this question, be very careful that the gradient is not this guy, but it's this guy. Why? Because in here the form is m times x, right? So whatever you see in front of that x, I mean like attached to that, is being multiplied by that is a gradient. So the gradient will be equals to -7 over 4. Okay, so in here, this one guy here is the y-intercept, right? So the y-intercept will be 0, -1 over 2. Okay, question D. Here we have this guy over here. So I'm going to rewrite the question. That'll be 5x minus 9y minus 1 equals 0. So again, the same concept applies, but this time I'm going to move just this guy to the right side because, yeah, add both sides by 9y. You'll get 5x minus 1 equals to 9y. You can see what happened, like subtracting becomes addition, right? So I can switch them if I want, right? It's the same thing like if I have a is equals to b, then b just equals to a, right? So I can just like swap them like this, and that'll be a 9y This guy is on the left side, and this guy is gonna be on the right side like this. Okay, so the last thing we do is to remove this 9 again. Well, we need to divide everything by 9 because we want to get rid of this one here. So the 9y just becomes the y, and there will be 5 over 9x and then minus 1 over 9. Which means that the gradient for this line equation is this one over here because it is being multiplied by the x, right? So there'll be 5 over 9, and the coordinates of the y-intercept is going to be 0, negative 1 over 9. Okay, let's go to number 7. Determine the line equation of a straight line if the gradient is 4 and the point of the y-intercept is 0, 3. So this is going to be very easy, guys. Remember that form of y equals to mx plus c is what we call the gradient and y-intercept form. So this 4 is the m, and this 3 over here is actually just the c. So it means that for question A, the line equation is just y equals to 4x plus 3. That's it, right? So just plug in this guy here and this guy here. Okay. Okay, now section B, and here the gradient is -7 and passes through point A. Okay, so you can use actually the same exact formula that y equals, I'm just gonna put it over here, guys. So there'll be y equals to mx plus c. So remember, guys, that the m value here is the coefficient of x, is the y-intercept. Sorry, this is a gradient, and the c here is the y-intercept. But in here, if you don't see any y-intercept, like question A, so we can actually use this one and find the value of c, or we can use another formula, which is the y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. So you can choose from these two formulas. So yeah, it's up to you which one. Okay, so if I'm using the first one, let's say I'm gonna use the first formula, and that'll be y equals to -7x plus c, right? So this -7 goes here because we know that is the value of m, right? That's the gradient value. And then to find the value of c, so we can just plug this in as the x and the y, right? So I'm gonna highlight that. So this 2 goes here because that's the x value, and then the y, this 9, goes here. So if I substitute that, you will get 9 equals to -7 times -2 plus c. And you only need to solve this equation. -7 times -2 is 14, and if I move that 14, subtract both sides by 14, and that'll be just equals to c. Okay, so the c is -5. So which means that the line equation in this form, that will be y equals to -7x -5, because we only need to substitute this c by -5. That's it. Okay, so another way on how to do this is by using the second formula. So I'm gonna move this here, guys, a bit here. Yep, so this is going to be the final answer for this question. So again, we can actually use the other formula, which is this one over here. So I'm gonna show you how to do it, but again, it's up to you. If there's no specific instruction on which one do you need to use, then you can choose whatever you like. Okay, so I'm gonna do this question again, but this time I'm gonna use the y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. Then again, because we already know that the gradient is -7, so this is going to be -7, and these two, the x and y, this point here that passes through, that's on the line, okay, we can just like put that into x1 and y1. Okay, so that'll be x1 and y1 for this case. So I'm gonna highlight that so that you can see what happens. So this guy is going to be this guy here, and this guy 9 is going to be this guy, right? So just plug in all of them, you'll get y minus 9 equals to -7 bracket x minus -2. So if I open bracket, I will get -7x and then -14, right? And then I'm gonna move that 9 to the right side. I mean, like, yeah, subtract both sides. No, add both sides by 9. You'll get -7x minus 14 plus 9, and you will get the same exact answer. Then again, guys, you can choose what you think is best for you. Okay, question C is actually the same thing. Just remember that if you want to construct a line equation, the algorithm is that you need a gradient and also 1 point. Okay, you need a gradient if you need a point. In here, we don't have any gradient yet, but we can choose. We can find a gradient by using the formula of m equals to rise over run, right? And that'll be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So just choose if if this is x1, this is y1. If this is x2, this is y2. Just plug it into the formula. You will get negative 3 minus 9 over 2 minus negative 4, and you'll get minus 12 over 6, and that'll be just equals to negative 2. So here we have a gradient, right? So we're actually doing the same exact thing like the second question here, right? We have a gradient and we have a point. And here we also get a gradient and also a point. Actually, we have two, but just choose one of them, and you will get the same exact answer. Okay, so if I'm using, for example, I'm using the first one. I'm gonna use this one here. So if I'm using that point A, and I'm going to use dy minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. And again, guys, you can actually choose the y equals to mx plus c. It's up to you, but this time I'm going to use this one here. So I'm going to plug in, this is x1 and y1, so and then this is the gradient, and that will be y minus 9, right, from here, it's 9, equals to the negative 2 from here, because that's the gradient, and then x minus x1, which is negative 4, so from here. Okay, so we can expand the bracket. The y minus 9 equals to negative 2x. This becomes plus times minus again, you get another minus, and then add both sides by 9, and you'll get y equals to negative 2x plus 1. Okay, question number 8 from the figure. State question A, the coordinates of point A and B. So we've done that for the first question. The point A is 1, 5, and point B is 4, 1. So remember that when you answer this, okay, I'm not gonna put it there. So I'm gonna put it over here. So question A and point A. Remember, write down the name of the point and then state the coordinates, x first, and then comma, and then y. Okay, so that B is 4, 1. Okay, and then the next question is the gradient of line AB. Then again, guys, you can actually just like use the rise and run. The first thing that you need to identify, either it's positive or negatives. Okay, so it's going to be negative because it's going downhill from the left to the right, so which means that question B, and you'll get the gradient is equals to, okay, so just like do this, pretty easy. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 1, 2, 3, so it's negative 4 over 3. Okay, pretty easy. Okay, now the next question is for the point of the y-intercept on line AB. So we can actually see it here, but we're not sure of what is that. It can be like 6.2 or 0.3 or 0.35. We don't really know. So let's do this one over here first. So actually, by doing this, you will get the y-intercept. Remember that if you can construct the line equation as y equals to mx plus c, then this c is going to be the y-intercept, right? So remember that for question D, in here the line equation, to construct a line equation, we need a gradient and also a point. So again, we have those two, so let's answer question C. Okay, now we are going to, I'm gonna use I'm just looking at y equals to mx plus c, and since we know that the gradient is negative 4 over 3, there'll be y equals to negative 4 over 3x plus c, and I'm gonna use one of the point. I'm gonna use this a, so this is gonna be x and y. So I'm just going to substitute all of them. There'll be 5 equals to negative 4 over 3 times 1, and then plus c, right? So I only need to add both sides by 4 over 3. That'll be 5 plus 4 over 3 equals to c, right? So that'll be 19 over 3, is it? I think so. Yes, 19 over 3. So 15, 3 times 5 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19. Yes. So which means that the line equation is solid. Yeah. Okay, before we go to the line equation, question C is the point of the y-intercept. So this is actually going to be the y-intercept, which means that the point of the coordinates of the y-intercept is going to be 0, 19 over 3. Okay, so the last question is the line equation of line AB. So if you have a gradient and if you have the C value here, you only need to plug that in. So question D, that'll be y equals to negative 4 over 3x. Forget 4 over 3 from here is the gradient, and then plus 19 over 3, and that is this one over here, and we're done. Okay, so this is going to be the last question for this review. Let's read it together. The cost to print books in a printing company can be written as an equation of y equals to 2x plus 3, where x is the total books printed, this x is the input, the number of book that you want to print, and then we have the y value is the total cost to print x number of books in dollars. So if you have, for example, if I want to print just one book, just substitute this into one book and one, and you'll get the cost for printing that one book. Yeah, okay. So the first question is, draw the equation on the Cartesian plane below stating the y-intercept of the line. Okay, now in here, remember that this is in the form of y equals to mx plus c. So because it is in this form, so which means that this 2 is going to be the gradient, right? And then this 3 is going to be the y-intercept. The coordinate will be 0, 3. Can you see what happened here? We have a point on the line which is 0, 3. So just mark that onto the Cartesian plane, which is over here, 0, 3. And then it said that it has a gradient of 2. What does that mean? It means that from the point on the line, you can go like, okay, to here. So like 2 rise and 1 run. So because we know that 2 is equal to 2 over 1, right? So this is the rise, and sorry, this is the rise, and this is the run. Okay, so let's go back in here again. So you're gonna start from here, because like going 2 unit up, right? 2 unit up, and then going 1 over here. So another point on the line is over here. So you basically just like need 2 points to drag to make a, what do you call it, make a straight line. But in here I'm gonna just use everything 2 and 1. So 2 got 1, so it's over here, and 2 and 1 is over here, 2 1 over here, 2 1 over here. Just want to make it more precise. 2 and 1, and then going 2 up, and then going 1 over here, and then we are not going to have enough, so we're approximately over here. Okay, so you just drag a line from the y value here, and then just drag it into the last one over here, just this one. Okay, approximately over here. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, now can you see that we have all of these? Okay, so you don't really need this line here, just to help you. All right, so I'm just gonna erase them. If you're done, you can just like erase them. Okay, now draw equation of the line. Yeah, we have drawn that. And the next question is, based from the graph, determine the cost to print 5 books. So remember that this here is the x value, right? So this is the input. So you can just like, okay, 5 books is over here, right? And then you go up so that you will get to a point in which the point is on the line that we just made. Okay, so it's 5, yeah? So 5 is over here, right? And you go up, right, until you get to the point on the line, which is over here. Okay, so this point is 5, 13, meaning that to print 5 book, you need to pay $13, right? Okay, so right then over here. Question B. The cost to print 5 books is $13. Okay, that's it, right? Okay, question C. Based from the graph, and it's in this context, if there is 0 book printed, is there a still cost to pay? What do you think the cost is for? So in here, what we just did for this 5 books, you just like go to here and then 5 and go up, right? The same thing with this actually. 0 books means that you start from 0, right? So you need to, okay, so you start from here. So which means that this is the point of 0, 3. It means that to print 0 book, you need to pay $3, right? So you can say that yes, you still need to pay, right? You still need to pay. If you go to that place and then you want to print something and then you order, so the to print 0 book, before they print anything, you will be charged for $3. Yes, you still need to pay for $3. So it might be, like I said, what do you think the cost is for? So it might be for the admin fee, for example, or maybe the service fee, right? Anything that is not related to the price of the book. Okay, so that is, yeah, that's it.